This is TWiT.
Hey folks, I'm Ant Pruitt and I have a question for you. How do you think your hardworking team, with a Club TWiT corporate subscription plan, of course, show your appreciation and reward your tech team with a subscription to Club TWiT? Keep everyone informed and entertained with podcasts covering the latest in tech. With the Club TWiT subscription, they get access to all of our podcasts ad-free. And they also get access to our members-only Discord, access to exclusive outtakes and behind-the-scenes footage and special content like the fireside chats that I enjoy hosting. Plus, they also get shows like Hands on Mac, Hands on Windows, and the Untitled Linux Show. So go to twit.tv/clubtwit and look for corporate plans for complete details.
All right, Mastodon it up.
All right, yes, let's talk about Mastodon. As everyone has done for quite a period of time, anytime something weird happens on Twitter and people are like, what do we do next? It's time to go to Mastodon. I have I might even have multiple Mastodon accounts. I don't know. Is that illegal? Maybe it is. Anyway, I know I have at least one. I've used Mastodon in the past, and it is an interesting platform. As Mastodon says itself, it is a product on top of a protocol. It is decentralized and open source. It can't be sold. It won't go bankrupt because it is not a company that can do any of those things, and gives you control over your network. The problem, actually, no, I'm not going to get into the problem yet. Apparently, the Mastodon is seeing 655,000 active users, so nearly 1 million active users, after 230,000 people have either joined or rejoined/reused Mastodon in the past week alone. So the platform is growing quickly. Or I shouldn't even say, I mean, it's sort of a platform. Mastodon is growing very quickly in a short period of time, which is interesting because there are people on Twitter who are looking for a different place to go based on how they see kind of the future playing out on Twitter itself. Mastodon works a whole lot like Twitter in the sense that you can send out short bits of text that are then shared with people who you follow. Who follow you, and you can follow other people and see their short bits of text, their images, their videos. And the way that it's different is that you can set up your own sort of social media network that has its own set of rules that can then connect with those other networks that are part of Mastodon. So if I wanted to have a Mastodon social network where the rule was you can only join the network if you never refer to white chocolate as chocolate, then I could do so. And I would have to make everyone prove that they all... Right. Finally, I have my network of people who believe in the truth of chocolate, which is that white chocolate is not chocolate. Anyway, and then the cool thing is all of my chocolatiers could follow people who are on TWiT's Mastodon and could interact with those people who are on TWiT's Mastodon. And so we all have our own network that's set up our own specific way with our own specific set of rules, but you can still be part of the larger conversation. And that is what I do think makes Mastodon pretty cool, because then you get to be part of a community that you want to be a part of, but then also share with other people. But due to that federated nature, that's the term, federated, it does lead to, I feel, a lot of friction in understanding how the platform works, in joining the platform, in setting things up, and also leads to, I think, a reduction in reach that you can expect from Twitter if you gain a following, or sometimes even if you don't gain a following, if you just send a tweet out that for some reason is of interest to a lot of people. I feel it's harder to make any of that happen on Mastodon. And that experience alone is part of what makes Twitter the platform that it is, and the platform that I think people, the reason why people keep coming back despite all of the complaints that they have about it. I think that that's also what so for me, when I'm on TikTok, I am just watching TikTok videos so I can enjoy and laugh and have a good time. But I think the people who are posting on TikTok, they're, and I don't want to generalize and say everyone, but many of them are posting on TikTok because they know that it's possible that the algorithm is going to pick up their video and that they're going to gain a following, or at the very least get a video to go viral and gain interest that way, because we've seen it time and time and time again. And I feel that there's a little bit of that to Twitter as well. Mastodon doesn't have that part of it so much. So the good thing about Mastodon is that it isn't driven by, it doesn't need to be driven by its daily active users. It doesn't need to be driven by how many people are actually producing content or aren't producing content, because it doesn't have shareholders that it's beholden to. It doesn't need to prove that it's making money. And even if it didn't have shareholders, if it was a privately held company that still needs to make money to pay for its own taxes, then there's that falls into it. They need to have advertisers on that platform. I'm talking about Twitter. They need to, all these things that are not just about making it the best experience possible for the people who are making the platform. Twitter is nothing if it doesn't have its users. That is what Twitter is. And many social media networks, many video and audio sharing platforms, they are only valuable because people are putting things onto them. And if you don't have the people, then you don't have the value and you don't have the money that you need to keep the thing going. Mastodon is not beholden to all of that because it is a protocol that lets people, if you build it, they will come. And if you don't come, then shruggy emoji. It's fine. So the fact that we're seeing such growth is fascinating to me, because I tend to believe that Mastodon users are going to be the people who were heavy tweeters on Twitter. They are the people who are more social media savvy, who can understand how the platform works, versus someone who just signs up for Twitter because they know that's where they can get funny memes and the latest news about the shows that they're watching or whatever it happens to be. Mastodon is I think some people try to make it seem as if it's just one step up from Twitter in terms of complexity. So, if you get Twitter, you'll easily get Mastodon. And I disagree. I disagree so much with that. Yeah, I think it's much more complicated. It's like, for me, in level of difficulty, IRC is most. Actually, no, I take that back. Discord is most. I was going to do IRC is most and then Discord underneath. No, Discord, I don't think I'll ever understand. Discord's at the top for me. Then IRC, and then probably Mastodon, and then Twitter, and then Facebook, and then Instagram. Those ones are very easy to use. Instagram and Facebook, very easy to sign up and use. Just that
single
Facebook
network. It's a single path. There's a single pathway with let's say old school social networks. You get on, everybody else gets on. You're all in the same pool playing together. Versus, Discord is this way. Mastodon is this kind of newer approach where, it's not as simple as stepping on the path and going. You're stepping on a path, and it connects to this much larger kind of pool potentially. But you kind of have.
Like, I guess the question, how do I toot at specific
what does it mean to follow people? Every network kind of has different definitions as far as what these things actually do and what they bring to you, the experience and what they mean for you and everything. So any service that you sign up for is going to take a little bit of grokking to kind of understand, how things play. But I haven't spent a huge amount of time on Mastodon. I've just been kind of, scrolling, reconnected and scrolling through it just now as you've been talking, kind of looking at things and everything. And in some ways it's very similar to the Twitter experience, but in other ways, just knowing that like what you're seeing is a partial, that it's connected to the potential of a much larger connection, like explaining that to someone with the purpose of saying this is an alternative to what you're used to using, which is this very simple single track thing. I mean, it's going to take a lot more education to get a user to really understand what that actually means. And I think the majority of people who are on, let's say, Twitter or are on Facebook probably don't care to spend the time that it takes to do that, because they're already there, and everything that they experience or expect and everybody that they expect are already there too. That's another, huge challenge with any new social media, is how do you get the people there, which at the core of it is kind of the point.
Yeah. It's tough, because I want to be clear. I'm not saying that you can't understand these platforms, that Mastodon is impossible to grok, is something that people shouldn't check out because it's so much work or anything like that.
Right,
you can do the work. It's just that many people have other work they have to do. There's so much that people need to do that they don't. What is the benefit for them? So that is where I wonder about who will or won't be leaving Twitter versus it, just unfortunately dying for whatever reason. And in that case, then being a place where no one is. But in any case, I will say I am happy for the federated users of Mastodon, that the platform is, the protocol/platform is still around, continuing to grow, and that there are some people finding a community there and feeling like Mastodon is the place for them, because ultimately that's what it's about. That's what I want people to get out of social media, is a place where they can enjoy themselves and, have the conversations that they want to have, versus being concerned every moment of their existence on the platform. And I know that for me, I've reduced the amount of tweeting I do.
So have I.
In general, and partially because I think about a tweet that I think about sending, and then I think about the 15 different ways that there are like 15 different arguments that happen inside of my head from all of the different ways that it could go. And I'm like, you know what? Never tweet. That's it. Never tweet.
See, I thought I was alone. I don't know how many times I see something compelling or whatever, and I open up a reply and I start to punch it out. And there's a voice inside of me that tells me, you know what? It's probably best that I just don't get involved. Yes. Or you know what I mean? It's like, what does it hurt if I just don't send this and I just allow this to be the thing that I thought instead of the thing that I projected out into the world?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe that's just an evolving kind of understanding of what social media is to me or to us. Whereas, because I guess where I am right now with something like Mastodon or a new social network that I don't know what it is I'm kind of exhausted by the idea of building things up from scratch again. Like, I've already done that. And I really don't want to start over. And I know that's a horrible reason to not try new things. But like you said, we've got a certain amount of time in our lives for a certain number of things. And I just don't know that I have a whole lot in me to like build a social social network around me from the ground up again. I kind of have the ones that I've done that with, and they're curated and they're in place. And just the thought of that stresses me out.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, and that's another conversation that I think has been had many times, and so I'm not getting into it too much. But Leo and I talked a little bit about it on the Tech Guy on Saturday, that for marginalized communities in particular who have been able to build a community on this platform, it's a lot harder for them. And I count myself among them. Twitter is my biggest audience. And losing that is not, Twitter is my biggest direct audience in terms of it is an audience that I feel I built that is, a group of people that are following me because in theory, they want to hear what I have to say. Obviously, the TWiT network is a much larger audience than my own Twitter following, but my own personal audience. And so because of that, it would stink to have to lose that audience and try to build it up somewhere else. And I know you've got quite a massive following on the platform, and to try and find a different place to do that, I just don't know where else that would be.
Yeah.
That other people want to be. So
yeah, totally. That other people want to be as well. Yeah. It would be really hard and take a long time, I have to imagine, to get to the same place that we are at in the set, and this probably goes for anybody, to rebuild that from scratch. Just sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe it'd be worth it. Maybe it'd be worth the effort, but I don't know.